to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Bev.
I'm Eve.
Beth's behind the fireworks because it's 4th of July.
Yeah.
Happy 4th of July.
Yeah, it will be.
It will
Soon.
be.
Yeah,
soon.
Monday. So, yeah.
Monday. I mean, it's day after tomorrow.
Move this a
today.
little bit so there.
Oh, but we have to hide Beth. Yeah, that's perfect. So we hope you're having a great holiday weekend.
You're unveiling all my junk.
Yeah. She likes
Usually
she likes
whatever
to
I
hide.
put, usually whatever I put there, while it hides Beth, it also hides her.
Yeah,
junk
also my
pile.
Uh,
junk.
But hope you're having a good holiday weekend. So yesterday, holiday weekend, Friday, at the office, everyone left except for me and my colleague because we had to be on the phone till 5. And so we were like, and the phones were not ringing because everyone was also having a weekend already. So we sat there like,
Why am I here?
yeah.
Well, you know when.
And my boss is putting pictures on Instagram on the lake, and I'm like, ah.
when I used to work at Blue Cross in Little Rock, because I was a long-term temp, I didn't have like inclement weather pay and things like that. And whenever we would have the office, like almost never closed, even when it was a blizzard outside. You know, there was a if you can work from home, blah blah. So they had a rule that if the office was open and if you could work from home, then you wouldn't get inclement weather pay because you could work from home.
Uh-huh.
And so most of the people in my office, you had to be like an employee for X amount of time before you were able to work from home. But almost everybody in my department could work from home.
Yeah.
And so,
So they
I
just
think
would.
I think my boss had to be there at the office. And so she would be in her office and it would be me and there'd be nobody else. It was like the rapture had
Yeah.
come because there's nobody in the
That's
office.
the way it was.
And I was
yesterday.
over there slogging to work because if
No,
I didn't go to work, I didn't get paid.
Yeah.
You know.
Everybody else had holiday yesterday except for me. And yeah, Mark goes, my office is closing at noon. And Eli says, I can't work today because my manager, because he has to, that's a whole situation, but he got sent home. So he's like, I'm going home. I'm like, not me.
Must be nice.
I'll be here but the good thing was there was no traffic. So
Well, when I used to work at Family Life, we had like from, depending on how the holiday fell, but we had like the time between Christmas and New Year's all paid.
nice.
So cherry.
That's nice.
So like between that and whatever OPR, paid time off I had, I usually took like 2 weeks.
That's nice.
Yeah, that was great. But, you know.
Well, I guess you're going first. But
I'm
we're
going
gonna
first.
Talk about.
But we're
the
not going
Etsy
to talk
shop?
about vacation. We're going to talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Etsy shop
Yeah.
Yeah.
because we have something special.
Yes.
So
we
there's
do.
an accidental
So-
special.
As you recall, I showed everybody these bags, but I said I needed to put a charm on.
Actually, technically, I showed them the bags.
Technically, Beth did.
It was me.
Beth and I went over to Michael's. And Michael's has some really great charms. I don't buy a lot of stuff there, but their beads and charms are really good. And I couldn't find what I wanted for this bag. But I found these beads that look like dragonflies. They're so cute.
It's just the wing part, right?
The whole bead string. This is,
No,
well,
what I'm
I
saying.
filled it in, but the bead string looks like this.
Oh,
And they're just repeated.
I see.
Yeah. And I said, those are so pretty. And they'll go with my bag.
Yeah.
So I made a little dragonfly charm. And then I made one for that bag. And I thought,
For which bag? Hold it up.
the big one.
Yeah. So for that bag, so there's little dragonfly charms. They're so cute. We'll put a picture right here.
And
So she had some beads
And
left over.
then she had beads left over. That's behind the fireworks.
Oh, so she made a scissor fob.
I said, well,
You can't see it.
these
Yeah.
should be
Well,
together.
Here's a picture of the scissor fob.
Here's a picture of the scissor fob.
You know when I edit the video, if
Yeah.
anybody does this, I put up a picture. So just do this.
Well, sometimes she does. Most of the time she does.
I missed one. I missed one. She won't let me forget it. But here's a photo of the dragonfly. It's so cute.
Isn't it? It's beautiful.
It's so neat. So we decided to put them as a set, right?
Yeah, I looked at them and I said, these really need to go together. And everybody agreed, and Beth said, yeah, but it needs
A needle minder.
a needle minder.
So I'm so proud of Beth.
Yeah.
Remember a
So
long time ago, if you've been with us for a while, you remember that she bought a resin kit because we were like, it'd be really cool to make our own needle minders, so, you know, completely custom to us. And she bought it, and she was going to do it, and then she got scared of it.
yes, I was scared because it's a new process and I've never done it before, and I thought, well, what?
And so last night she's like, yeah, but I'm a little nervous. I'm like, what's the problem? Just make it. If it sucks, we'll just throw it away.
Yeah.
Or actually what'll happen is, if it sucks, it'll be mine. Because that's what I get, the ones that aren't any good. That are,
Yeah.
the mistakes.
So I had Eve make another little dragonfly using a piece of wire. She just did a wire so it wouldn't, because it
I
can't
have
have
some. I have some of
attachment.
those.
Yeah.
They're not eye pins, but
T-
they're. It
just
looks like a
pins,
very
yeah.
long pin, but they're for jewelry making.
Yeah.
Somewhere, I couldn't find them.
But anyway, so she made a little
So here's
dragonfly.
a close-up of this.
Yeah, and I was making the resin thing, and I thought I'd put some glitter in it just to jazz it up a little bit. And there's a little flower in there, but I shouldn't have put the glitter in at the beginning because it said you can add a little bit of blah blah blah
Maybe
at
it's
the
just too
beginning.
much. Maybe
Yeah,
that's the thing.
and it was just So it kind of obscured the dragonfly. So I'm gonna make it again, but this is my first attempt
I'm
at
very proud of
at
you.
making.
Even
And
if it's
so
a mistake.
Yeah.
the set will have.
It'll have one of these.
It'll have that, but it
But a
won't
better
be
one.
obscured by glitter. And the charm and the bags, and it'll be a fantastic gift for yourself or somebody else.
Yeah.
In the picture that you'll see of this, you can see the dragonfly,
Yeah.
but we were talking about it and we're like, well, maybe one.
Well, no,
that's
but
not-
I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the worst that can happen?
that she'll have to do it again.
Yeah, it's
And-
like, it's okay to make a mistake. That's not, because now you learn.
Well, which is one of the things that keeps her from FFOing.
Yeah.
Is
That's
she's
true.
afraid that once she does it, she
Yeah.
won't like it, and
Or that I have to
Or she'll do it wrong.
think about it because
Let
I'm
me
like,
see it.
well, I could do this and I could do that, and I have this. Sometimes I have a visualization of what I'm gonna do, and other times I really don't, and so I just end up not doing it because it's easier to just keep stitching.
Yeah. but
But,
yeah, no, I'm really proud of you. And I think all it takes is a little adjustment of how much or,
Yeah.
put it or maybe around the sides or something. But yeah,
Well-
I'm really proud of you.
Yeah, and the thing is that like the stuff that came with the kit that I have, or like if you go in the jewelry section, you can get the little silicone molds, and they're a little shallower, but they all have a little thing so that to make a hole. So if you're making a pendant or whatever,
Right.
And I wanted one that didn't have a hole in it because I'm making a needle minder, and so in the candle making department they had a little sheet of molds that had different shapes and stuff, but they're a lot deeper.
But
And
you don't
so-
have to fill them.
No, you don't have to, but I did anyway because I
that
put
one
a
of the
lot of
beads.
stuff in it.
Also one of the beads is very round.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was kind of fat.
It'll be
And
So-
that was another problem with that other mold is that I said, the
It's just a
bead is
little-
above the lip of
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
So
But this is cool though.
yeah.
I mean, I'm really.
I love it.
I really like it.
Uh,
And I'm very proud of you for.
I would be happy
jumping in.
if it were mine. I'd be happy with it, even with
Yeah.
the glitter.
Yeah.
But since we're selling it,
Yeah, I want to make it a little bit nicer, a little
Yeah.
bit cleaner, because it looks good on the back side
This
when
side,
you look at it.
yeah,
Yeah,
the,
because
the underside looks real
Yeah.
clear. And
we'll take
Just-
a picture of both sides
Yeah.
so you can see what we're talking about.
yeah,
But then I like the little flower. That's so cute. Good job, Beth. Good job. Get on it. Keep
So-
doing it.
you'll have one like this, but not this one.
So I'm not positive when this will be ready to go up on the Etsy shop because today is Saturday and we're going to go see Jurassic Park. And tomorrow is Sunday and Hobby Lobby isn't open on Sunday. So if we can go after the movie, she can pick up. I have to stay
Yeah,
in
because
the
I
car.
need to get more resin because the only resin I have is what came in the little kit, and it's a small bottle, and I used a lot of it to make this thing. So I'm thinking I need a bigger bottle, more.
But I'm gonna have to stay in the car that time.
Yeah. Speaking of buying things, segue
into Beth's.
So one of the things I had been looking for some threads. I've been looking at the attic, and I know they were having trouble getting in the Gentle Arts threads.
I'm sorry if I'm bouncing.
So
my foot itches really bad. It's killing me. Sorry.
So I went. So I had to go online at embroidery.com. Partly because of the way they were doing the I Love to Stitch magnet giveaway things.
I kept wondering why it wasn't coming.
Kind of forgotten about it, but but the way they were doing it, I guess, is like it's considered like on layaway kind of. It's in your shopping cart, but just sitting there until you order something from them, and then it gets stuck in your order, and you get free shipping. So anyway, I went on there to look for the threads. I thought, well, maybe they would have them, and so I got a whole bunch of threads because I needed some for stuff I was doing, and then these are threads that have just been on my list, so I went ahead and got them. And I also got in the mail my summer issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. I love this whale. It's punch needle, but I just love it. It's just really, really neat.
Well, we have all the accoutrements. You could try them.
I have punch needle stuff. It's just that I'm chicken. Because just like
her nickname when she was growing up was chicken.
Yes, that's true. My dad very astutely started calling me.
What's the worst that can happen?
I know.
You mess it up and you throw it away and you do another one. It's not like you don't have enough stuff to do it twice.
Yeah, here it is.
Anything worth doing is worth doing twice.
This little whale is
this way.
It's so pretty.
Oh, that's so nice.
I just really, really want to do it.
Are those strawberries?
Fish.
No.
Oh, there.
There are
strawberries.
Yeah. It's all red on the front.
They're strawberries.
I thought you were looking at the red, line.
No, on the front there's a picture of actual berries.
Yeah, they're made out of.
I'm obsessed with berries.
They're made out of wool or something.
Is it felt?
They're in the it's. I didn't remember. It's in the magazine. I think they're. I don't know.
It's in there. Oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
Ultra Punch. Oh, it's punch needle.
I think it's punch needle, yeah.
Oh,
how weird. Let's see.
It's punch needle, and then you sew it into a berry shape.
Okay, while you do your stories, I'm going to look up the punch needles.
By the old tattered flag. So
they're pretty.
So I have a bunch of stuff. So I'm starting the July phase of cross-stitch camp. And last week I showed this is one of the items. I'm also doing I'm hoping to do Gnome for the holidays, but for sure I'm doing this one here, Snowman's Treat. This little snowman. So I just got a little start on it because, yesterday was July 1st, so I started. So I've only got about, 3 lines of the actual snowman. And that's what I'm going to work on today. But also I have a finish of sorts. It's a little bitty finish, but it's a finish. I think I showed a few weeks ago, this little teeny tiny little
you finished it
Bristol
finally?
thing.
That took you forever.
Yeah, it's very little, but it's a kind of a lot of stitching, a lot more than I thought.
Wow.
But so it was a little free kit they had at the attic. And it came with this fabric and the thread, which is just 8/16 DMC. And it came with this little, with this fabric to back it with. So you could just make a little, pin cushion kind of thing. But it's made by Lagniappe Designs, Lagnippe. Lagniappe Designs, and I think the person who made it is named Melinda. But anyway, so it was just this little free kit, and it came with a needle and the fabric and everything else. It's on 22 count Hardinger, and it was very, very tiny.
Okay, I'm going to interject. Here's the berries we're talking about. And what it is you take a pattern of fabric and punch needle it with the color of the berries, and then you do French knot seeds, and the little leaves on top are felt. So cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
looking at your magazine while you talk.
Okay. I'm in the middle of some one-on-one stitching. Let me ask you, see how this is
Pardon
shaped?
us while we confer on a pattern.
Apparently, when I started this O, I started it here, which would make it the shape of this top thing. Should I go back and fix it?
yeah, because I think you don't have to, but it would give you because it's supposed to be a little bit bigger,
I know.
and it's But if you want to, it's up to you. If you're gonna pull it out. Well, because I think that the bottom line of the O should be
Down further.
down further. Yeah, so.
I understand what the problem is.
Well, you could make that one that size and then make this one
Make
bigger
the
if you
other
want.
one
You
the
know,
normal size.
it's just up to you because it
All the letters
goes
are
like
different
this.
sizes in that pattern.
Yeah,
so
so-
you can just make it up.
Yeah, you can just shift
do
it because
it.
it's not gonna hurt anything. It's not dependent on anything.
Well, I could just make them all
Yeah,
that
you could-
same little
yeah.
size.
Mm-hmm.
But it might be easier to read if it's bigger.
Yeah, I think it's legible. It's just whether or not it fits the pattern because they made the O's bigger, so it's up to you.
That says
it.
faith, hope, love. It is beautiful.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
That's pretty.
Very simple.
So my last month WIP-GO, I showed the Monster Wonder Whale was one of them, and the other one was this La-di-da Kitty Kitty, and I adapted it just a little bit because the fabric I'm using, the cats didn't really show up, so I made them black, and
You finished?
really close to done. No, I still have a lot of border to do. But I did the little there's a little simple border around the cats, and again this was supposed to be in the same gray color or whatever that the cats were supposed to be, but that didn't show up on my fabric, so I went with black, and I did the border around them, the first border in black, and then and I decided to do this zigzaggy border, this little single zigzag line border. Because I thought, well, okay, if I could finish that zigzag line, then I'll be done with that particular color. And so I was doing it, and I was periodically checking, like with the cat's ear or whatever, to make sure it was in the right place and I wasn't missing anything, and. Everything was good until I got up to the top, and I realized, I was about almost to the top, and I realized one of these was supposed to be even with part of this leaf. The part of the zigzag was supposed to be even with part of the leaf, and it wasn't. And I thought, well, that's not right. And so I was stuck. Did I put the cats in the wrong place? Did I put because at first I thought I'd done the something, but so I went and I was looking at everything, and it's the tree, which is one of the first things that I did, and I just put like one row too many on the tree, and so I thought, well, okay, that's going to be a problem because of the border. Because there's this inner border that has this, it fits into the zigzag border, but then it does this weird thing on the corner, and it's like, how am I going to fix that? And so I had to, I adapted the zigzag. I added a stitch in the zigzag, and I added a stitch in this other border thing. So I had to stop and do both borders all the way up so I could make sure that my idea for the adaptation would work, because I couldn't, go back and change this stuff. So I had to figure out, so I did the border so I could figure out, make sure it was correct. So anyway, but really all that's left is this. Oh, there's another couple of border things on the outside. So it's not quite, but almost done. But you can really see that the inside picture is done. It's just the borders that are left over. So, but I did the 10 days on this. So I don't know when I'll get back to it, but there it is.
Okay.
So
I have to
then,
interrupt you.
uh-huh.
Did you see this?
Yes, I did, and I'm going to do it.
Elephant. I'm going to put it a close up of this, but it's an elephant pattern. It's so cute.
The Parade of Elephants. And this is by the Blue Flower.
And then.
Because I was already looking, going, ooh, do I have a back of that?
And then.
Oh yes, yeah, that was.
Look at that. It says all who.
Not all who wander are
Not all who wander are lost. And it's a punch needle. That camper.
Yes.
That's so cute. And I want a camper just like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's so adorable. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Interjecting.
So, so that was my second WIP-GO of June, and so now we're getting on to our July WIP-GO stuff, WIP-GO calls, and number 11 and number 18 were the numbers that were called. So this is And Heaven and Nature Sing by Kathy Barrett.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So last time I worked on it, I was in the middle of the deer. I did a couple cardinals and some little berry basket down here. And
So that's this pattern.
yes, yeah, this one, sorry. This by Kathy Barrett. Big deer. Big deer. Big deer. And so I haven't even looked at the project bag that I had it in to see if make sure I have all the stuff. This is I think it was called for like silks, but I use all DMCs, so it shouldn't be that big a deal. But I want to get more of this deer done, and the cardinals that are on his back. Right above them is the antlers, and that would probably be pretty easy to do, but I'd like to get the deer done. So anyway, there's that. And then the other thing I have for 10 days is this Hello Pumpkin by Caterpillar Crossstitch, and I don't have, I somehow don't
You
have
have so much of it done.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Don't have the
Wow.
full picture of it. This last picture has part of it still blurred out, but somehow, yeah.
I have never seen that before in my life.
But so, yeah.
It's beautiful.
So I have this. This is like
There's four of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
The second week or so. I mean, the second month or something like that. I think this bottom part is done, as I recall. And so I'm just doing, these little
I guess
bits.
I was
I have a
asleep.
blind owl here.
A
Doesn't have
blind
any
owl.
eyes. His eyes aren't finished. Not quite. But, yeah, so.
That is so cute. I didn't even know. I don't even remember that at all.
Yeah, I think this is 28 count.
Or maybe when I saw it, it was just the bottom,
Maybe.
and so I don't.
Yeah, I haven't worked on it. I haven't worked on it in a long time. I did like, last year I did one day on it. So, yeah. And so, yeah, a lot of it is, part of it is just doing, yeah, I really am just down here still. Yeah.
It's so pretty.
But yeah, it's really pretty. Her patterns are very colorful. But so then, so that's what I'm going to spend my chunk of time on. That's 10 days for each of those But I also did in the last end of June. I did a little bit more on the June rabbit. When I started, I had just done these two rabbits at the top. So and this one wasn't quite finished. So I finished this brown on this rabbit, and I did a third rabbit here, and then I went back and did this rose color, just some hearts and some stuff in between them. So that's coming along. I don't know when I'm going to get back to it. And I started, because it was July 1st, I started the July rabbit. And I did one little heart, and did some of this little green pattern that goes around it. So it doesn't have any actual rabbits, but so.
Cool.
So that's my stuff. And I lost what? Oh, I lost what I was going to work on.
What are you working on?
This is that snowman.
Oh, the
tree.
snowman.
Yeah. So I think that's.
You want me to go next, Steve?
All my stuff.
Sure.
So July 1 for me was the beginning of the Tour de Fleece, which is a spinning event that coincides with the Tour de France, and a lot of teams do things differently. They maybe have stages or whatever, but at Tempe Yarn and Fiber, our team is pretty chill. We're not real competitive or anything like that, but so we have a couple of challenges, and I got my packet. So on Sunday last, we had a spin together to get ready at the shop. It was really fun. I didn't take any pictures. I took one. But I didn't take any good pictures of like all of us sitting around. But it was fun. There was a lot of people. So I got my little Tour de Fleece packet. So we're gonna be eligible for prizes, and there's a couple of events. And so the way you earn prizes, you get tickets. I got one ticket for being there last Sunday, and for, I guess, joining. And then we have a couple of challenges. Here's our challenge sheet. One of them is a color challenge, and they wanted us to spin a yarn that represents fireworks. So I'm going to put a picture here of the beginnings. It's on my wheel at home, of course. But that yarn is spun from this. This is a merino
so
silk.
Beautiful.
Oh my!
Fiber.
Oh goodness.
It's made out of merino and silk by Ashford. And
Wow.
I don't have any colorful fiber at home. I've spun it all
brown.
and all I have is natural colors. So I bought this that day, and I got it because it has red, white, and blue, and it has green. The problem is that I had thought that I could spin, a little bit of color by color, but really it all kind of blends together. So it's coming out like a flecked purple on the wheel, and I'll put a picture here of that. It's what's going on so far, and I have gotten some spots that are just white and maybe more reds, but overall the theme is purple. But I don't care because it's got little flecks in it, and that's kind of what I wanted. And then when I apply it, I'm just going to do a 2-ply, and when I apply it back on itself, it'll fleck. So that was kind of my thoughts, or something like this, where it's mixed, but little pops of different colors. So that's what I'm doing for that. So when I finish that yarn, I can take it to the store and get another ticket. And then the other challenge is a size challenge. Spin a lot. Make a 6-ounce skein and at least 2-ply. So, okay. I have a problem. I have enough. I have probably, this was a 4-ounce package. So it would be like 1.5 of these. The problem is that this yarn is the one I showed you last week, and this are the same. They're the Hoggett fleece, which means the first shearing of a sheep. So these two, I don't want to mix another package of regular Cotswold with this one. So this is on my wheel at home right now. So I'm like, I think I need to finish this and then do my large 6-ounce spin. Or maybe I can do, I don't know if it has to be at least 6 ounces or if I can do 8 ounces, which what I'd like to do. Anyway, so I think, but this will be part of my own self challenges, because you're supposed to create a challenge for yourself that you want. And what I want is to spin up all this Cotswold I have this summer. So I want to get as much spun of it as I can. So this will go, finishing this will go toward my own personal goal. And then I can do a large skein later. So those are my two challenges for Tour de Fleece.
There's only 2
in July. There's only 2 main ones, and then the other you get prizes for going to the spin ins and stuff. And also, we have to turn in these things. So this is what do you EWE know about spinning? And it has questions like. What is the word for female sheep? What's the word for male sheep? What type of fiber and spinning wheel would you take with you to a desert island? So some of them are not knowledge questions, but just answering. What would you name a sheep if you could have one? That's fun.
Susan Nelly.
No. When I was little, my uncle gave me the opportunity to name a goat, and I chose Susan Nelly. I have no idea why, and that's what he named the goat, and they won't let me forget it. That's pretty creative, though, you have to admit. So, like,
she was really little.
When did the Tour de France first start? Who invented the first spinning wheel and when? So I got to do some research.
Sleeping Beauty.
Which came first, the drop spindle or the spinning wheel? And one of these is name 2 stories that feature a spinning wheel. And I just listened to a book called My Name is Resolute by Nancy Turner, who is the one who wrote the Sarah Pine novels. These Is My Words and all those. She wrote another one. I think I didn't look into the background of it, but I think it's about another branch of her family. But it's about an English girl, and it's called My Name is Resolute. And she, through a whole series of events, it's a very good book, you should read it, but through a whole series of events winds up in New England at the time of the Revolution, just before the Revolutionary War. And as a single woman begins spinning, because she had learned this in her travels. I won't say travels, it's not like, anyway. She was taken from her home and forced into slavery as a white woman, and then wound up in New England and refused to own slaves and actually freed a slave woman. Anyways, very fascinating story. But she made her living through spinning flax and weaving linen. So that was really kind of a cool little, hey, I know what you're talking about. So, there's some research I have to do, like name the 3 countries that are the biggest wool producers. And besides the fiber arts, name a couple of ways wool can be used or other products that contain wool. So that's kind of cool. Dryer balls and ground cover, like you put it around your trees and it helps keep the moisture.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's kind of fun. And then something I want to learn during the tour, and my 2022 goal for spinning. So I got to fill those out, and I assume when I turn them in, I get tickets. And then I think at the last event, they have a prize wheel, and I don't know how it works. And I'm very proud of myself, because every year, about mid-July, people are talking about Tour de Fleece, and I was like, and I'd miss it. So this year I didn't miss it. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
I got in on it, and I went to the spin in and at the shop, and it was so much fun, because the one little corner there is really hot, because they have all windows, and like literally we're in a little corner like this, and when you walk out of that corner, like to the register, it's like right there, it's cold, but that air isn't coming, and there's a ceiling fan there, but maybe they need to turn it the other way.
I think that's what happens at the attic too, is that
those windows are so hot.
No, in the back, it's a lot warmer than it is in the front, and the windows are in the front. But maybe the air conditioning is concentrated up there, and it doesn't move.
Well,
I
was like hoping. I thought, I don't want to be rude, but it'd be really great. I could just bring a standing, and I said that if they had a standing fan at
To
the
suck
edge
that
of that
cold
little
air in.
square, it would pull the cold air from the rest of
Yeah.
the shop. So
And please don't misunderstand. The attic is great. I notice the
favorite
temperature.
place.
I notice the temperature difference when I'm in there.
Well, and it's so hard to cool
Yeah.
shops,
And
in
especially
big
town.
space like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
the bigger the space, the worse it gets. But like halfway through spinning, I was like, I gotta go to the weaving area because the shop is like kind of like an L, and so the front is here, and the little like community area is kind of to the right, and that's where we were, because that's where the space is.
Oh, yeah,
But then you go around the corner, and in the back is where they have the looms, and back there, oh, it's like a refrigerator. It's so nice.
it's like when I'm at Joann's, I'm like, oh God, I have to go to the bathroom.
It's
Yeah.
hot
It's
and
so hot in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And,
And-
you know, when we were at Walmart the other day, a couple weeks ago, and I had to get something, and so I was over. Like at first, I was over in the pharmacy side, which is like on the opposite side of the store, and it wasn't bad there. But then I had to, get this and that, and so I was getting kind of warm, and
Well, you know what you do at Walmart when you get warm.
I know. Well, I went, but
You go to the freezer
I
section.
know. I was going to say, I went over to the other side, and and the
then
coolers
you
are
get
on the
cold.
edge of. And I went. I was going down this one aisle, and then I went around the corner. I was like, oh, it's so nice and cool.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so glad. Because usually I go in there and I'm freezing in that
Yeah.
store.
Yeah. So then the other thing I am working on, I think I talked about this. Maybe I had started it, but here's the beginnings of my hat, my pretty yarn. There's my beautiful
So you
Malabrigo.
haven't been doing any more color work on that one thing that you started when Quilter died?
No, I haven't. I haven't picked it up again because I started Hannah's top twice, so I did that. That's just for me. That's
I know.
like, but no, I haven't done that. I haven't worked on that little cowl in a while, but I had bought this when I bought Hannah's bamboo yarn. I bought this Malabrigo, and so this is my bust knitting, and because I'm just knitting for inches. So I did the ribbing to here, and then I started on the stockinette, and this is not my new needle set. It's my old needle set because this is my hat size. I'm like, I'm not gonna push my luck and tell my husband, now I need a hat size of the Chai so they all match. No, but this is my hat from my hat kit. But anyway, so this is a pattern. I'm very proud of myself that I designed. Oh, I didn't bring my paper, my planning paper. So Roxanne Richardson on YouTube is a fantastic knitting teacher, and she has a video about how to knit a hat in any yarn for any size, and she teaches you how to measure your own noggin, and how to, once you do a gauge swatch, how to determine how many stitches to cast on and how many inches to knit. And so I decided I am not going to buy a pattern for this is my sleepy hat, remember? I'm going to make a camping sleepy hat. So I'm not going to buy a pattern. I'm going to learn how to do things on my own. So I measured my noggin, and then you don't make it right to the measurement. You make it a couple inches smaller so that it's to your head. And I did a gauge swatch. It was a very small gauge swatch, but I still did it. And then and then from that you determine how many cast on and how many inches to knit total, because you measure from earlobe around to earlobe, and then you divide it in half, and that's the length of your hat. So, and you can make it longer if you wanted a little slouchier or whatever. And so then you do a certain percentage of cuff, and then a percentage of straight knitting for the hat, and then a percentage of decreases at the end. So, so I decided to make my own pattern and make my own hat, and I think it'll fit my little noggin. Let's see. Yeah, it'll fit. Ta-da! And I love the color. Looking at Malabrigo yarn is like some kind of drug for me. I just love the colors.
That's
it's so
really
beautiful.
pretty.
And as we learned last week, it's called Potion in English, this colorway. And what I also like is that it's so unique. It's like no dye lot. Like this is the only one. And that's the way it is. Someday I'm going to go to to Central America and go to Peru and these places where they dye this beautiful stuff. Anyway, so that's my bus knitting. And here's, but this is actually turned into bus knitting because now I'm just going around and around and around and around. Let me put my end stoppers on here before I pick it up because I don't want to lose stitches. So last week when I held up the beginnings of Hannah's little sweater, my nephew and my sister was watching the video in the living room. My nephew walked through and said, "Why didn't Naomi make a bra?" Because it did look like a bra. I admit, it looked like a bra last week. I'm sorry.
He just said, "Why did she knit a bra?"
It did look like a bra. It did. I admit. It makes me laugh. Anyway, no, it doesn't look so much like a bra. I guess it could be like a tankini. It's a tank top, for heaven's sake. Okay, anyway. So here's my progress so far. It's going very fast. There's the back. Looks pretty good if I do say so myself. Not too much rowing out. And it's got the, under the arms, here's the sleeve. Under the arms it has this little garter stitch thing. What's that called? Edgy side, whatever. And also here on this side. And then also in the front, in front of the V, it's got that little garter stitch detail there. And so I'm about halfway. It says to, once you start under the arms from here to here, to knit 110 rows. So I am at 50, I am in the middle of row 55. So I'm halfway. So then after that, I don't know how yet, but you make two, you separate it and you make two like garter stitch tabs in the front and back. So I've been going gangbusters on this. She leaves for her summer camp the day this video comes out. And so I'm going to mail it straight to her there when I get it finished. So it'll be in her summer camp wardrobe. But I better finish it. So anyway, I think that's everything that I am working on. And I need to get spinning because I have a lot to do spinning wise.
You can't do it yet. We have to go to Jurassic Park.
I know, not today, but I'm just mean like I realized. So I did that spinning last Sunday. It was a week ago, and to start everything. And then I think I did one night on the purple I called it purple on the fireworks yarn. But then I didn't touch it all week, and I was like, it's not July yet. And then yesterday was such a long, horrible day. It wasn't long and horrible. It was just long, and I have to tell you in stories what I did last night. The most frustrating fiber night of my life. And it's a lesson in try something and find out that it doesn't work. And that's okay. And throw it all away. That's what I did last night. But I will save that for stories because it was I was like, this is exactly what I told Beth about. So anyway, like just don't be afraid, just try it. So I tried it, and I was like, and then after I did all that and spent all those hours, I was like, I could have been spinning and been happy instead of trying this thing that I've been obsessed about. You get like obsessed with it, and right now I'm obsessed with a new skill I want to learn, and so I was like, I could do it. So I will save that for stories. So apparently I can't. Well, I can. I just did it with the wrong materials because I was impatient. See?
So
that's what's wrong.
As you know, I have been working on these summer berries. Well, among other things. And I am closing in on a finish on the last summer berry.
Yay.
Yay. That was that one-on-one that I interrupted Beth about. Up here, in this top area right here, it says good ol'. And I did the O's wrong. And I was like, I'm just going to keep doing them. Because taking out one-on-one stitches is just hard for me. And I looked at it and I was like, I can read it and I'm just going to leave it.
No one's going to know.
Unintentional
like
design
that TikTok.
changes.
Who's going to know?
Yeah,
No
it's
one's gonna know.
like the O's are supposed to be like one little row.
One of the one-on-one
quarter
things.
row
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah.
It's like,
So I got Happy Mail this week. I got in my, I didn't open it, my autumn berry wool. Oh, there's, it's clear, so it's hard for me to see it. There's no easy way to see the edges. So this beautiful green check, very similar to one that was in another one. This beautiful color right here. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? And then some very, very autumny colors here. Tan and orange. Rust. You know, just beautiful. They're just beautiful. And I haven't ordered the winter colors yet. They're not expensive, but I'm trying to spread it out.
Yeah.
She does have a you know, if you get all 4 at once, where you could pay one price for all 4. But she didn't put that out until after I already had the spring one. And I was like, whatever. So, yeah, I was really excited to get these. Not that I have started autumn berry at all.
No, but now you got it.
I have the supplies. You know what? I looked at the pins of the autumn berries and I was like, I'm not positive I want to order those. So I may not get the pins, or I may just buy them at the attic, because obviously we go there once a week, it seems like. So then, for when I was working on, this is my one of my WIP-GO challenges for June. It was number 16, Wizard Snowman by Cross-Stitching for Fun.
Oh, yeah.
I was working on Mary Ravenclaw. And I got this blue scarf further down. I had finished the blue scarf, and I realized when I was going to put in some gray shading here that his face was too long. And I thought about it, and I was like, I could just leave it. I'd have to adjust the other side. I could just leave it. And I was like, yeah, but then his face would be all stretched out.
He's melting.
And I was like, but I wouldn't like it. And for me, that's the criteria. Yeah. If I leave it in, am I still going to like it? You know? Yeah. And I thought, at least I hadn't put in the Krynic yet. So it has Krynic in here, inside the blue. And I did take a picture. I have a picture that I'll show you. In this little area, there's Krynic, you know, in this blue scarf. And then there's a different color of Krynic braid in the words and on the little wand. Mm-hmm. And, but with these Wizard Snowmen, I have used up a whole spool almost of Krynic, because I did 2 already.
Yeah.
And Mary Slytherin used I didn't use any of this silver on Mary Gryffindor.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, that one called for very little Krynic. But as Beth mentioned, in order to get the I Love to Stitch needle minder.
Let me see it.
You didn't show your needle minder?
I had it. Oh, it's on one of those rabbit patterns.
Cute.
I thought, I looked for this when I was at the attic last time, and I didn't see it. Now, that doesn't mean it wasn't there, but I was looking through there, and I didn't see it. It might have been there. They have the Krynic in these little bins, nice organized bins, but, you know, like all the number 8 braids are together, and I was like, is it in there? Is it in there? Is it in there? And I didn't see it. So it might have been there, but I'm not sure. But I went ahead and ordered it because I had to order something to get this, and I really wanted this because I saw somebody else that had it, and I was like, but I want that. And I love to stitch. So I went ahead and got the Krynic, you know, It's like one of those things. So some people were really complaining. That wasn't the deal. They were supposed to be free.
Yeah.
And
Well, I did I do that challenge?
yes, you could get it.
And I didn't. Okay, that's when I tried to get it, and it was messed up, right? And then they said, "Oh, now you can get it," and I just never went back. I forgot. But now you tell me I have to order something, and I was kind of like, that wasn't the deal.
It wasn't the deal. And it's like, oh, I found out from the shipping department that it's on layaway until the end of December, and whenever you order anything, you can just put it on that, and it'll come with, and you get free shipping. Okay, if I had bought the Krynic here at the attic,
that's free shipping.
it would have been no shipping, but okay, so I'm like, well, if I'm going to buy it anyway, and I don't have to pay for shipping, and I get my needle minder, I'm good with that.
Yeah, but somebody like me, I wouldn't be buying anything.
Anyway. But a lot of people were like, that wasn't the deal, and it wasn't. And in the past, you didn't have to do that.
Right, and it kind of sounds, I mean, because it just makes you feel like a way for her to get her people to buy stuff from her shop.
Well, it's always been that, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Because you always got it through going through the website.
Right.
And I don't think she knew that they were going to do that, because she said, I found out what the problem is. And I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to, I agree that you should be able to just click on there and get it, because that's what the rule is. And of course, she wants you to order from there.
Yeah, that's her business. Makes sense.
Yeah, but it isn't the deal.
Right.
But I think if you're
we can
really doing a lot of cross stitch, you're going to need cross stitch supplies of some kind, whether it's DMC. They don't care how much you order. There was no criteria for the amount. If I had ordered one skein of DMC, I'm sure I would have still got it.
Yeah.
So. I feel for her. She's doing these challenges and trying to encourage people.
And it must be so hard to deal with people, all the people.
These needle minders are really good.
I was going to say,
they're excellent needle minders.
Yeah, it's something that I mean, everybody makes them nowadays, but everybody charges different amounts or whatever. But they're really well made, and they're free.
Watch. Here's the needle minder. Picked up my scissors. It's a good needle minder. And I'm like, this has got to cost a fortune to make.
Yeah, she's giving them away for free. So
right. And free shipping. So I'm like, if I'm going to buy something I'm going to buy anyway, why not? I'm not going to bust her for it,
Yeah, I was thinking about buying the threads online anyway, because they were just unable to find them. And I got them all,
Yeah. And then my number 9, now both of these, I did they're not finished, but I did the challenge. This was 10 days. It was 10 days of very little work each time, but I have had so many things going on. I'm like, okay, I'll work on it for a portion of today, but so I got in more than 10 days on this, and I was hoping I'd get it done, but I didn't. But I'm okay with that. So I completed both challenges. They're not done, even though I really wanted them done, but I completed the challenge. And even if I hadn't, I'd be okay with it. So the other one was this this bookmark right here with the daffodils. And if you go to her Cross Stitching for Fun Facebook group, it's real easy to join. And that's where this free Wizard Snowman pattern is. And then the other June project, the reason I couldn't finish my WIP-GO, things, I got the goals, but I didn't finish them. Sorry.
Where's that?
This is my June cross stitch camp piece.
Oh, beautiful.
All done. I didn't iron it, but it's all done.
Lean it back a little
finished?
bit. Yeah, it's finished. That's so pretty. I saw it online. Nice.
I don't take really good, the pictures that I take when I post stuff they're always the perspective is always wonky, and that's because I lay them on the arm of the
couch.
and so they're kind of curved like that.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love
It's so
the way
nice.
this looks on this
Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm real excited to do the other ones, but I don't know. Maybe they'll be done by next summer.
There you go.
Yeah. So I kept all the
little
colors
bag?
together. It's from Sheets.
Oh.
It's a sheet set bag. Of those.
Oh. I was like, where did you
I'm
get
like,
that
I'm not
from?
gonna throw this away, and I'm gonna use the sheet for something else. So, oh, yeah, that's right. And then, as long as we're talking about WIP-GO, my number 11 for July is
Oh, that's good.
5 days on this, and I'm working on this pillow right here with the little witch teaching the cat. I think it's called
As
the
if you
lesson.
can teach a cat anything.
I think it's called the lesson.
Yeah.
This one. Anyway, this is
Ooh, that's
That's so
pretty.
pretty.
this is how far I am. Now I have the fabrics dyed
neat
for
fabric.
the other two.
Uh-huh.
I just like this one best, so I wanted to start with that one, and that's as far as I got last October or September. I don't know, whenever it was I started it.
That's pretty. I like that
And
fabric.
it's not difficult, and it's only one color, but this is,
Is that
mistakes
for
you leave. Huh?
Is that for July? Your camp for
My
July?
WIP-GO for
Oh.
July. So I got the border. I did the border first, and I got the number of it wrong. And I didn't realize until I was doing the tree. And I was like, well, a couple of those branches are just going to have to be longer. Because it doesn't hurt the running any.
Yeah.
It's one stitch bigger than what,
Yeah.
but it's fine.
Well, it's like on mine. It's like I did that tree 1,000 years ago, and I was like, it took me forever to figure out that I had somehow, but it like affected everything on that border.
So my other WIP-GO call is it's a new start. See, last month they were all new starts. They were both new starts. So is for 15 days on this. This is by the way, that other one with Black Halloween series is Twin Peak Primitives. This is Silent Night by Stitching with the Housewives. And I'm going to convert some of the colors to Weeks Dye Works instead of
I was wondering what you had scribbled on here. It's like there's all these little pencil scribbles.
Let me see it.
Weeks Dye Works instead.
Oh, that's pretty.
Isn't it gorgeous? And as you recall, my dyeing fabric recently, I was dyeing something that I wanted for this, and it just came out brown.
Yeah.
It was what I wanted for this. And so I was at Hobby Lobby. I have a teal that I was considering for the summer basket that I just did with the spa. And I said, well, I could do it on that. Maybe. But I saw this yesterday, and I know Beth bought it before. And it's 25 count Lugana, steel blue 25 count. And it's this beautiful, let me show it to you this way. It's this beautiful blue.
Pretty.
And I think it would look really nice on that. And it just, I know the black is fine. I just really don't like it. I like stitching on black. If it's my choice to stitch on black, I'll stitch on black, but normally I like color. I just like color. So I think I'm gonna go with this. I'm trying to decide if I wanna like coffee tea dye it to give it a little bit of modeling. But I might just, it has so much going on
Yeah.
that I think I may just leave it like that.
Yeah.
And I've never stitched on 25 count, but
Neither have I.
shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. That one the kitty that I was doing was on 30 count linen.
That's pretty.
Well, it'll
And
be
so
slightly
it's-
bigger than
yeah.
28 count, but a lot of people cut out a lot of these snowflakes, but I think that's something that makes it pretty.
I was gonna say I was when you held it up to me. I was like, I like the fact that there's so many snowflakes.
Yeah, a little Santa.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
She did. I bought these at the same time, this Silent Night and then the one Into All the Good
Oh,
Night.
does this have that little Noel in it also? The little
Well,
I
the
don't
little Noel thing.
I haven't opened the package. I think that's a little
Button.
Oh, it's a little
Thing that she bought.
Yeah. Now that I look at it closer.
but I could certainly make one.
And
Anyway,
there's a little pig and there's a little cow.
That's very cute.
it's a little farm.
And there's a little
so
chickens.
busy.
There's some little chickens.
But I like that it's busy.
There's a little star up here.
So I like that kind of stitching, like little motifs like that.
Yeah, that's really cute.
It appeals to
So,
me.
I have to do 15 days on this. I will not get it done in 15 days. But I stitched far longer than 15 days on And to All a Good Night, and I think I'm halfway done. So then that leaves my, two things. This is my July cross stitch camp piece. Erica Michaels Stitch All the Things, and I'm doing the berry for camp. I plan to do both,
Let me see.
but for camp I'm doing the berry.
Oh, cute.
Here's the pattern, isn't it cute?
That's nice. FFO, WIP, SAL.
And a needle and thread.
Cute.
WIP, yeah. So so I started this yesterday, July 1st was yesterday. And so this is my start. I have a T. And the beginnings of an I. I'm going to finish this and then I'm going to start the autumn berries. But then I was like, I'm so close to a finish on this. And last night I did all the swirlies and I started the G. And I said, I just got to finish that and then I can work on this. And shouldn't be an issue getting it done. It's just a lot of words. So hopefully I'll have it done sooner than I did the other one, so I can start on my autumn berries. And then we were at the attic.
I wonder if there's
week
ever
ago.
going to be an episode where we don't say we were at the attic.
Yeah, this week.
Yeah.
We're not going this week because we have to go to Hobby Lobby.
Oh. Okay, sorry. You were at the attic.
So I saw this at market and I thought, what an interesting idea. And this is a recipe book, but it's got little stitching
Patterns,
Shut
patterns in there.
How
Yeah.
See?
fun.
little tiny patterns
Okay,
with
you gotta
recipes.
pass that over here.
And sometimes they have, like here, how it's written in the person's handwriting.
Yeah.
And my mother was part of the WMU in New Mexico.
Women's Missionary
most of-
Union.
for most of her life. And they put out a little cookbook. It was called Angel Food, I think.
Yeah.
And we used stuff out of that book a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a cool way to pass on memories and recipes from others.
Yeah,
And-
family recipes and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, and there's some of them that I found in here. Cranberry salsa. That's from the Blue Flower
Janine McGowan. Look at that little squirrely.
Huh?
Cute little,
That little squirrel
I thought it was a bull. Is it a squirrel?
No, it's or something. See the little
A
tail?
mouse.
A mouse or yeah.
I don't know. I'll be able to tell when I stitch it.
Yeah.
But some of the cross stitch patterns are really tiny, and others are like medium size.
And we can't show you because they're just the pattern.
It's just
Yeah.
the pattern.
Yeah.
But here, crock pot peach butter. You stick the peaches in a crock pot and make peach butter.
Ooh. Interesting.
That's from Stacy Nash. And
So is this all designers? And they put, how neat.
yeah, someone from the Shepherd's Needle.
Oh yeah.
Little Rock.
Little Rock.
Little Christmas bird. Tiny.
What a cute idea.
Yeah. So, So I said, I kept walking by it since market. I kept walking by it, and this last time I said, I'm going to go ahead and get it.
Can I see it?
Yeah. I'm like, kept looking at it. I'm like, I'm not like super excited about the patterns that are in it. Some of them are really cute, and I'm like, I'd like to stitch that. They're great for smalls and, things like that. To put, like if you have one of those Mad for Plaid bags, stitching one of those on it, then it's your bag, that kind of thing. And the other thing I got at the attic.
This is funny. One of these is a note from Jolene. I got to show this to Hannah. It says, "You can have him, Jolene." That's because probably Jolene didn't know he was married. Jolene.
So I'm going to take this out of the little bag, but I bought this Little Bee thimble box. It's a kit. Well, it's not a kit. It doesn't have the fabric, and it doesn't have the DMC or the thread. It uses 3 colors of floss, DMC floss. What it does have is the little box to make it the box. And I wasn't, sure about the size. My dad's eating breakfast.
It's okay.
So,
It's okay.
yeah. So, here's the little tiny pieces for this little tiny.
Oh my God.
It's so small.
Cute.
And the instructions
About the size
on
of a thimble.
and then a little plastic thing, And I'm like, yeah, that about a thimble would fit in this little box.
It's to put a thimble inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need a good thimble. A thimble, not a symbol. A thimble.
Get thimble.
I need a symbol on my thimble.
And
Thimble on your thimble.
and of course the pattern for the bees. I thought that was so cute, the little bees.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a lot of stitching. They're really small.
So how do you put it together? By stitching it together? You don't know. Got to read about it.
I got to read about it. And I thought briefly I would do that, because this month's challenge is to stitch something that can be put differently than framing. And I briefly thought, well, I'll just do this then. But remember last time I showed you that pattern with the dogs, that maybe I could do that for camp in August?
Yeah.
Stitch something that you've never done before, a thread or a designer or something. And this would be perfect for that too, because I've certainly never made a tiny little box. But it's so cute. Look at this little bee. So cute.
We're still freaking out about the cookbook. I want to see these little pieces. Oh my gosh.
So that's all the stitching I have, but I want to segue into some stories.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yesterday my son wanted to go out, and he ran back in and he said, I need something.
A broom or something, yeah.
Because a baby quail had flown into the garage, and if he was afraid if he shut it in there it would die, because it was about 105 yesterday, and in the garage it was much hotter.
Yeah.
And it was little, and we struggled for a little while to get it out, and finally he said, I have to be somewhere. And so he left. But by the time he left, it was up on a rail for the garage door. And later on, I tried to see if he had flown out, but I couldn't climb up the ladder to find out. So I started closing the garage door, and apparently he had been somewhere in the front on the garage door, because then he fluttered up through the middle of the garage door up, and I was like, I stopped the door because I didn't want it to squish him. And I have some pictures. Beth will show a picture of where he was when he first came in, and then I have some pictures of where he was after I stopped the garage door. And I stopped it with about this much at the bottom, and I could hear the parents across the street. Now, these parents and this little bird, when I drove into my house day before yesterday, they were in the driveway, and the dad had gone through, and then the mom, and they paused as I was about to, and I'm like, oh no, I'm going to run over quail, and the little baby followed them, and it was like the mom was waiting for the baby to follow, and and then they went, and I pulled up, and I waited in my car for a while because I didn't want them to get in the garage. I don't mind quail. I just don't want them to die in my garage because I love, I mean, I can't even tell you how much I love looking at the quail outside. They're so cute. And those babies. You know, they're
when
so
you're driving
small.
along, they look like little marbles almost.
With a little top knot.
Running after.
Yeah. They're so cute. Little tiny bowling balls with feet.
Marbles. They're the size of marbles, literally. They're so cute.
So that was that. And then we're having people over for swimming on Monday. So I was getting some of the stuff. Other people are bringing other things. And Beth and I were running low on our soda. This is a crisis of gigantic proportions. And, of course, they were having sales and stuff. And I had a coupon for some stuff. And I love the Baja Blast soda. But I don't buy it because...
The Mountain Dew flavor, right?
Right. Yes, it's a Mountain Dew flavor. And a coupon if you bought 3 Mountain Dew flavors, or Pepsi. Not Coke, not Pepsi Cherry. That wasn't one of the listed things. You could get $2 off. Well, because of the way I tried to get it the week before, but I had delivery and not delivery. I had them put it in my car. I ordered it for pickup, and so they didn't have it. The Baja Blast Zero, which was on the website that they had it. So we ended up with all the wrong thing because I didn't want regular Mountain Dew. I love the other Mountain Dew flavors. I do not like regular Mountain Dew. And so Beth was almost out of Pepsi because of the way it was. And I was like, okay, this is crazy. So I just went ahead and I picked out, oh, yay, the Mountain Dew. It's in. I can use this coupon and I can pick up some other stuff. But I had to do it in a certain way. And plus I wanted to make sure I had some flavors for people here.
For the party, yeah.
Right. So I had about, I want to say 7 boxes and go to checkout. And the lady at the checkout says, well, you know that the sale only works on the first 4. And after that, you have to pay full price. And I thought about it for a second. I said, okay. And she said, well, you know, it'll be $6.99, you know, full price for anything over that. And I said, okay. And I said, I have a coupon. And she's like, well, maybe you should just use your coupon another time and just, you know. And I was like, really, it's okay. And
then didn't she say something else like?
And then I said, do you not want to be yelled at? Is that what's going on? You know, and she goes, no. Are you having guests? I guess you're having guests. And I was like,
no, I'm drinking all myself.
Not invited. What's it do you, lady?
You know what? And she goes, I've gotten where I only drink 1 soda a day. And I was like, yeah, I drink about 2 liters a day, maybe. And that doesn't even count the Dutch.
Are you flexing? Are you like virtue signaling? Like, you must be having people over because no one would drink that much.
And you know
soda.
what I forgot to tell you?
So rude.
You know, every time I go shopping, I put the sodas with the barcode up on the back and in the front. Those 12 packs. I have it already. But this time, I saw the Baja Blast as I was walking in, and in my mind I said, I'm not getting that much today. My cart was like this when I left. I said, I'm not getting that much. So I just put it in the bottom, in the front of the, the cart.
Yeah.
And she said, as she was charging them, she said, it's better if you put these in. I said, yeah, I normally do.
Did you tell her you are the reason why self-checkouts were invented?
It's like
my gosh.
It's like that lady like that sign we saw at Penny's, and our response was, get what you need and get out.
Yeah.
So, and I've had this checker many times. She said everything in a very kind way. I could not say that she was rude, but this time I was like, what are you telling me?
Why are you telling me how much soda you drink?
Yeah.
Am I buying too many sodas? Am I not allowed to buy as many as I want?
That's like that lady we saw. Was it you and I that had, or maybe it was me by myself one time that we were at the store, but she had like a cart full of, I think they were all like cheese puffs or something. She had oodles and oodles of, and I'm like,
what are you
You're gonna
doing?
pass judgment on somebody? Pass judgment on that?
I've seen people go out with tons of water like that, and you
get
what you need. You go buy what you need, right?
When I see someone with a cart full of giant packs of cheese puffs, I figure they're buying for a camp or for
yeah.
I never think, are you gonna go home and eat all that? And what's it to you? Even if you were going to go home and eat all that, shut up.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I could see her just saying the coupon. I mean, the sale isn't going to work on the other.
But she's sitting there wondering about your health. Like, are you trying to not?
Don't drink so much soda.
Are you trying to not sell things?
Yeah.
So okay, I have the ultimate story, cashier story. When my son was young, he had brain surgery due to intractable seizures. Well, this was before that, and he had just had a couple of seizures, and we were trying to figure out what was going on. It was very early. I was new mom, first baby, kind of freaked out. And I don't know, you know how sometimes it's easier to talk to people you don't know for whatever reason, when you feel like you need to say something. So this is my fault, but sort of. But we were in the checkout at Target in our neighborhood, and I had seen this cashier before. I hadn't really talked to her, but I'd seen her before. And we're in her line, and Eli's sitting in the cart, and he's being a little 1-year-old cutie, and she's like, oh, he's so cute. And I said something, sweet about him, and I was like, thank you. I said, he's kind of scaring us right now. And I don't know why I had to tell her, but sometimes you just have to express things, right? So I was like, he's scaring us right now. He's had a couple seizures. We're trying to figure out what's going on. And this is what she said. She said, I knew a woman who had seizures all her life. And so in my first time mom terrified state, I thought she was going to say, And she led a normal, productive life, and she was fine.
Uh-huh.
You know how you say to people in a kind way to encourage them?
Uh-huh.
She says, I knew a lady who had seizures her whole life. She had kids. She's like, and then one day they found her dead in her
Oh my
apartment.
God.
And I was like, here's my money. And I left. And then my child got very sick and had brain surgery. And every time I went to that Target, she would be there. And I'd be like, I'm not getting in your line. I'm not getting in your line. Oh, it's you? I'm not getting in your line. Like,
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to buy something.
she traumatized me. I cannot believe that you would say something like that to someone who just told you that their little kid had just had seizures. Like, I cannot understand why. To this day, I think about that woman and I think, why? That's something you keep in your inside voice.
You said, don't say the quiet part out loud.
Like, what do you want? Okay, so I have to tell you about my disastrous fiber night. Do you remember, all of y'all have been with us for a while, I bought some, I should have brought them. I was so angry I couldn't think about them. I bought some tablet weaving cards some time ago.
I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
I remember that, yeah.
And I was like, I really want to learn this. Now, I have a rigid heddle loom, a cricket loom it's called. It's kind of long and rectangular and wide, and you have a heddle, which is like the reed. It's like a reed that you put the yarn through, and so how you move it, and it's rigid. That's what. It's not like a floor loom with the up and down, where you can put different heddles that hold the yarn. You can put them in different patterns. You put some of them up and some down, and that makes your weaving pattern. This one has it's just fixed. You put half the yarn through the holes, and half are through the slots, and so as you put it up and down, the yarns go like this, and that's what creates your weaving pattern. So I've had this loom, and I've made a couple things on it. I'm not really good. I actually think about I'm going to go take a class on it just to learn some new skills, to get really familiar with it so that I can think about more weaving, because, whatever. So I also thought, can I use this with those tablets? And I had seen some videos about putting the warp, which is the long strings of a weaving, onto a rigid heddle loom, and instead of using the heddle that we have with the reed that I just described, instead of using that, you use the cards, and then you create that gap, which is called the shed, between different strings by turning the cards, and so it's a thing. And I had heard that you can do it, and I thought, I'm going to do that. I'm going to, for some reason, at 10 p.m., I decided, I was watching videos, and I was like, I'm going to do it. And I'm like, what am I going to use? I just want to make so my goal right now, because Hannah asked me to make her a bag out of her jeans. So I want to do it, and I have the jeans, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I wove because these tablets, they make little weavings like this wide. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I made a strap with my tablets? It would be really cool, right? So I was like, but I need to learn how. So I'm going to do this experiment. I'm like, what do I have? I don't want to use yarn because regular yarn can fray with the tablets turning, It can pill up or break. And so I wanted to use something more sturdy. And the lady that I'm learning tablet weaving from, she doesn't know me. She's very fruity and very, she dresses in period costume, and she's crazy. Anyway, but she's very good, and I like the way she explains things. But she talked about the fiber to use, the yarn to use, the string, whatever. She's like, take a piece of it and put it put it on itself like this. And if it sticks to itself easily, it is not going to be a good fiber to use. I knew that. But I was like, what do I want to use just for this experiment? It's just an experiment. It's okay, whatever. And I'm like, I have cotton crochet cotton, like the you know, that comes like in the little you know, it's like a little cylinder of cotton
Comb,
that you know you make
yeah.
doilies out of. I have
Yeah.
tons of it, and I'm going to use that. Right? It's cotton.
Famous last
So
words.
I worked the loom, which is I was making the long strings, and as I'm doing it, I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of sticky. It'll be fine, and I worked it the way I remembered warping, which probably is not correct. And so, what you do is you kind of wrap it around the back, this back pole, and you put it around a peg over here to make your distance, and then you're supposed to cut the loop that you have on this peg, and then that's your warp, and you wind it up on the back edge. Well, when I did that, I realized, I don't know why I thought to myself, I should cut everything that's on that back pole and tie it onto the back pole in groups of 4 that will go through the tablets. I don't know why I did that. So I cut this end, and then I cut that end. So then I had these just handfuls of strings, and I'm like, this is probably not a good idea. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to separate them into groups of 4 that are supposed to go through each card. Well, guess what? That cotton did not want to be separated from its friends. And it turned into a giant ball of, but do I throw it in the trash at that point? No. I sit there for I don't know how long. Now, meanwhile, my husband has a little tent that he's bought. It's his 3rd tent. And he has it outside. Because the second one, the first one we went camping is big, right? That's the big one. That's camping. Then he bought another one. It's for the backyard, but it's too big. So then he bought a smaller one. Now he's thinking it might be too small. Whatever. He and Eli put it up outside because he thinks he wants to sleep outside. It's 100 degrees at night. And he sits sweating. I don't know if I'm going to stay out there. So this is what he's doing while I'm wasting my time with this. And so while he's out there,
I can't even put the needle in.
Welcome to the Mark Show. Anyway, I don't know who's more stupid, him or me, but I'm sitting there for hours, okay, where I could have already had it tied and everything, but it wouldn't have worked anyway. But anyway, I have this wad of cotton across my lap, and so I'm pulling out 4 at a time, and I'm having to pull it like this. It's like, it will not slide on itself. You know how you pull a thread out and it just slides?
Uh-huh.
So I'm having, so then I tie, it's 13 sets of 4, and I tie them all. But I realize even so, like those groups of 4, they're like this on each other. And I'm like, so I get it all tied after multiple, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours. I don't know how long I sat there. So then I go, like, okay, it's all tied in the back. Now I'm going to go to the front. And I'm supposed to wrap paper. You're supposed to put paper in as you, so you have all this warp, and then you're supposed to roll it up on this back thing. And as you roll it up, you have to put paper between the layers. Otherwise, they stick to each other. Mm-hmm. Every kind of yarn or anything will do that. So you roll it up. So instead of using the paper that I already had that I knew worked on the loom, I decided to cut a stiff paper bag that I fought with the whole time. And then I did it wrong somehow because it wouldn't hold the tension of it. Like if I let go of the strings, the bag just loosened. And so it was a disaster. But more than that, I had to get a comb, and I was combing this blankety blank cotton. I'm trying to comb it so that it would be flat, and I'd comb it and I'd wind it up and I'd comb it, and it's just like, so I finally get it to a place, and the back, so when I let go of it to start putting it through the cards, everything I had just painstakingly wound up just went, and it loosened on this back thing and did not hold the tension at all. And I'm like, I must have forgotten how to do this. And also this cotton sucks. So I'm sitting there and I'm about to so I pick up the outside like 4 strings, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, there is no way I can even separate these in any coherent way, because if they're not flat all the way from the back, I can put them through this card, but then there's just going to be a tangle on that side. So every time it comes through the card, it's going to be tangled. And you know what I mean? And I'm like, and these cards are not going to slide back and forth the way they're supposed to. And I'm not going to be able to, what am I doing? So I didn't even put any cards on there. I just put the cards back in their thing, pulled all this out, threw the paper bags away, cut it off the loom, and threw it away. And I was like, I wasted so much time. And I look at my watch, and it's 1:30 in the morning, and my husband is still outside. Eli's smart enough. He was like, I ain't dying, so nothing. That's too hot. So I go out there.
Secret life of the gold
And
sticks.
I open the back door, and I'm like, he must have fallen asleep in there, but I don't want him to sleep out there because
it's hot.
well, it's hot, and I didn't want him to dehydrate himself.
Yeah.
And he had bought this cheap little sleep pad because he thought that the nice, as my father calls them, balloons, the nice inflatable cots that we had, he didn't think it would fit in there. So, and it might not have, but the little one he bought was not very, I don't think that's going to be very comfortable. So I just went to check on him. Like, do you really want to sleep out here? And actually it was pleasant at that hour at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And so I opened the door and shut the door and made some noise, and I walked out in the grass, which wasn't quiet, and I leaned down. He has a fan in there with him because he's run the extension cord. And,
Glamping.
And his back was to me, and I was like, hey, Mark. And he goes, ah! I wasn't really asleep. You just scared me. I'm like, how did you not hear me open the door? You had to have been asleep. You had to have been. And he's like, I guess I think I'm going to come in. This really isn't that comfortable. And he gets up, and the little inflatable mattress he had, it just like there was no air in it left. He goes, maybe I popped it. Anyway, it was so funny. I'm like, in the winter, this is going to be great. Because he was like, well, maybe I can't, maybe it's too hot. And I'm like, yeah, it probably is, honey. It's what he said earlier in the day. I'm like, just go set it up. If it's too hot, just come in. But I'm like, but it's going to be nice in the winter. This is not the only day you have to use this tent. It's crazy. But he had a little adventure and everything, so that's fine. But so that was my horrible experience with a rigid.
Well, but you know what?
But I learned a lot.
That does stress the lesson that, and I do this all the time. I look at the instructions and then do something entirely different and wonder why it doesn't work.
Well, but also just to experiment, because I didn't think I was going to make anything, but I thought that I was going to at least
learn how to do it. Start
to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't teach tablet weaving at my yarn store. So I was sort of on my own, but I didn't listen, obviously, to the fiber content. But, like, even Paul Simon was like, you have to sometimes try stuff and you don't get anything. And that's exactly what I did. And I was like, okay.
But, and there's a lot of times that I do things differently than what is told to do, and many times it works. And all of our brains work different. What is it that Jenny Doan says?
Finished is better than perfect?
No. Everybody's brain, you have to do what makes sense to your own brain.
Yeah.
And which is why, I am not afraid of messing it up.
Yeah.
For most things.
I wasn't afraid. I'm just angry.
No.
That I was stupid.
No, I'm not afraid of messing it up. So I, a lot of times, ignore the instructions. But when it doesn't work, it is a big lesson to you as to why somebody says, don't do it this way. Yeah. Don't do it this way. And
I'm a rule follower.
And
what was it you were saying about trees?
Oh, yeah. When my daughter was little, we went to a Suzuki violin workshop, and one of the master classes was talking about personality types, and as illustrated through a tree, that some people are trunks, and they are solid, and they are inflexible, and they do not move. You know, like they are, this is who they are. And some people are branches, and they are strong but flexible, and they can bend and adapt and go in the wind. And some people are leaves, and they're just all over the place. And because we were talking about
what are Palo Verde trunks?
they're strangely shaped, but you
They're
know,
trees that blow over in the wind.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But that's because their roots aren't strong. That's different. But I thought it was a neat kind of analogy, you know, and like you are definitely a trunk.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah is a self-described trunk. I think I'm more of a branch. I used to think I was a leaf. Maybe I'm a leaf. I don't know. I kind of flit all over the place, I guess. In the fiber world, I'm definitely a leaf because I cannot concentrate on anything for more than 5 minutes. But yeah, no, it's an interesting analogy of people. But you know, for me, it's like I get these like obsessive thoughts almost about like I'm obsessed right now with tablet weaving. I want to learn how to do it. I even asked them at Tempe Yarn, I'm like, do you teach this? She's like, nope. But I decided I'm going to do a rigid heddle class because I know how. I mean, I followed the instructions and I made a few things, but I really want to learn like really technique and then take their like they have next steps and all that, and take all their classes and then eventually one day I'm gonna graduate to a floor loom. But I'm like, I have so many things to do and so many things I like. But I saw this really cool video last night of this lady who I follow on YouTube. She does spinning. Her name is Jillian Eve, if you are interested. And she's a little goofy, but she's really smart, and she always is she'll just experiment. She's like, I'm going to try this. I don't know if it's going to work. And so she did a thing where she bought these a set of fiber called Rolag. It's a way of preparing fiber. Like this is like a roving, where it's in one long string like this. And a Rolag is made on a blending board, and then they roll it into a thing, and you spin it from one end. It's like a straw of fiber. And anyway, so she bought a whole bunch, and she decided she was going to spin and weave a cloth all in one day. And she was going to do it with singles instead of plying it together, which is the whole thing. But you can watch the video and understand what I'm talking about. But as she was spinning the warp, the long strands, she realized that she had read somewhere that historically people used to spin, when they would weave with singles, they would spin the warp, the long strands, one direction, like clockwise, and then the weft that goes back and forth, they would spin it counterclockwise. And she was very curious about that and how that would work. And so she's like, I'm going to do that. So she, once she finished enough for this one, she did for the warp, she did the weft, and then she wove it on her rigid heddle loom and finished it like late that night. And she said it was so interesting because of the directional energy of the twists of the warp versus the weft, it made, she's like, I've never felt fiber like this. It's stretched in both directions. And she's like, in all directions, I guess. And she's like, it's as if because it didn't ply as a yarn, it almost like it plied itself as a fabric. She's like, I'm so fascinated by this. But I thought it was really kind of a cool thing. Like, she had this idea and was brave enough to I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to experiment. And like, a lot of her videos are like, I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try it. And she films it, and and then she talks about her results. And I really like that, and I think it's important to have that. Now, part of my problem is I feel like I can't experiment a lot because I don't have the resources to just freely,
just buy
stuff.
Yeah.
And just like, if I mess this up, do I have money to do it again? That is an issue. And I understand, like, you can't always just throw it away. And so that sometimes I have that trepidation of like, I want to do this, and maybe that's why I was trying to work with, because I have a lot of junk yarn, not junk, but stuff I'm not using that I can experiment with, you know, because I almost thought about doing it with some of my sock yarn, which actually probably would have worked very well.
Yeah.
But because I have a lot of little, I bought like little skeins of sock yarn when they were $1.50, you know, on sale or whatever. So I have a bunch. And I thought I would, but they're like self-striping, and that wasn't what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I could have done it just to learn how to use the stupid tablets.
One of the things that Vonna Pfeiffer in the Punch Needle magazine, one of the things that she's done a couple times is like she has some partly finished stitching where she says like, I'm not going to finish this, you know, it's a sampler or whatever, but it has like, you know, so she's done some of the motifs in it, and so it's partway done, and so she just like uses part of it and makes like a drum or something, makes something else out of it instead of finishing like a big sampler. She's got, you know, this little strip that she could use to make, you know, into something else, to do a pillow or and so instead of just like chucking it and throwing it away or, you know, or having it languish there forever unfinished, she just, you know, repurposes it and uses it for something else. You know,
talking about that, I follow these guys on YouTube and socials named Arne and Carlos, and I've talked about them before, and they're like my heroes. They're in Norway, and they were clothing designers to start with, and then they started, and knitwear and stuff, but then they just shifted over to actually just doing knitting and patterns and stuff. And Arne, they're both very creative, but Arne is so creative. He just thinks of things and they constantly are making idea books, and they're just those type of really creative people. And one of the things he did, he loves to go to thrift shops, and he found at this one shop a bunch of needlework things that were half done, and they're like, we don't know if she died or she went blind, or, you know, they talk about the blind old lady or whatever. Because he took them, and Carlos was not happy about it, I think, at first, because he's like, we have so much junk in this house. But Arne took them, and he's like, I'm going to finish this. And one of them was with cats, and the lady had done all the cats, but not the rest of the pattern. So he put a houndstooth. He just stitched a houndstooth pattern with no pattern, because he's just that way, behind those cats. And it was the coolest thing. And I'm like, I would never think of that. Like, you know, taking someone else's design, and so he was going to make a pillow out of it. And he did another one like that, where he just finishes it in a complete... Oh, no. With the cats, it wasn't houndstooth. It was a diamond pattern like this, of all different colors, like rainbow diamonds. And so the cats were in this relief behind all these diamonds, and it was like, it was so cool. You know, so it's good to experiment, even if you fall flat on your face like me. And eventually maybe I'll
but it's like we told Beth about that. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of how I feel when I'm finishing something. Of course, I don't have something I've been working on for 20 years, you know, because I don't do big stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like these people that do this, saw a woman finish this giant eye that was full coverage, and I'm like, oh, I could never do that. Could never work on that one thing for that long. But I just do it. And if I ruin it, I don't want to ruin it. I've put work into it. But if I ruin it, it's better than not trying.
If you do it with little things, you learn those mistakes on a little thing, so that when you do the big eye with full coverage, you feel more confident.
Well, and you know, what is it? What is her name?
Excuse me, Eve, are we wearing the same nails?
Yes, I noticed that when you came.
It's swimming pool color.
Mine are chipping off.
Well, good. I just put mine on last night.
So, well, I have another set I could put on. So, what is her name? Perfect, the YouTube person. I want to say Perfect is in her name. Her YouTube channel. Anyway, it's not Perfect Stitcher because nobody's perfect, but anyway, she finished something recently and she goes, I'm not real happy with this, but I'm showing it to you to let you know that even though you finish things and it's not the way you intended it to come out. And she explained all the problems and you could tell in the finished thing. And she said, but I loved this finish. I mean, this thing. And so I'm putting it up, even though it was a little wonky. Now, she attributed the wonkiness to something that when I was watching, and I'm not going to comment on her and tell her how to do her business because you know, it's not my place. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that was what the problem was. She said that the reason that she was having problems is because she put interfacing on the back of her stitch, and because she did that, she couldn't move the glue. And I think that if you have something that has a border so that it'll look really off, and this thing that she had was some patriotic bird or something and it had a border around it, you need to have that border not be wonky if you're going to finish it in a way other than a frame. Well, even in a frame it can't be wonky. I don't think that the problem was that she put interfacing on the back of her stitching. I think the problem was that she glued it.
Yeah.
Because especially some glues that stick right away, you can't move it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it's wrong, you just end up making it worse when you're trying to fix it.
Yeah.
If she had laced it, and Vanna Pfeiffer, the Twisted Stitcher, shows you how to lace stitching.
Mm-hmm.
She shows you how to do a lot of finishing stuff. She's fantastic. But if she had laced it and when she turned it over it was crooked, she could have easily have moved it.
Yeah.
So I use glue all the time. But if I was doing something that had a border around it and it was critical that it be straight. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things I did, it had a littleish border, one of those that was up here last time. And I didn't finish it on that USA because I'm like, if I have those others that I'm going to put on here, is it going to fit? Is it going to work? And I knew I wanted more on there, so I didn't do that. But I think that you have to look at what it is before you decide what kind of adhesive you're going to use if you want to glue it to something. Yeah. If you
and hopefully it's a huge lesson if something like that
and
happens.
She said every time you do this, then it is a learning opportunity, and I'm sure she said I almost decided not to show it, but then I thought it would be better if I let people know that this happens and
how to deal with it, or what to do with it,
and
that's like
to just love it anyway. And she put a little button to try to hide some stuff. Yeah.
I made a quilt for a friend, and the fabric I made it from was what I always do when I make a quilt or whatever is I buy the pre-cut, like the layer cake, which is 10-inch squares or whatever, and then I buy yardage for the borders, right? And so I always try to buy from the same line so that it coordinates, and this fabric that I made this out of was it was like kind of bizarre colors, like very like colors I normally wouldn't have chosen, but like dark blues. Chosen dark blues and yellows. It was like dark blues and yellows, like mustard yellows and weird stuff. And then it had a graphic print on top of like a white ink print on top. And they were all different like shapes and this and that. But I wanted a dark blue border because I like dark blue. But the dark blue fabric that was available had stripes on it. Now the stripes were like this, 'cause that was the graphic of that. It was like these crooked lines like this, but they were still straight. And it was the first time I'd ever put stripes on a border. And guess what? It was the last time I ever put stripes on a border.
Yeah.
Because the stripes were printed on the fabric. They weren't woven in. And even when they're woven in, they're not always straight, right? So here's my advice to you that I learned from that quilt is never put a striped border on a quilt. Because no matter how you cut it, no matter how it's printed, no matter how you sew it, they will be crooked. And it's so evident because you have the edge of the quilt, you know, top, and you have the edge of the border, and you have, you know, you cut it you cut it this way with a straight edge. And so the crooked lines show at every opportunity. And I finished it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. But I decided, I don't care. I'm going to bind it and send it, and they loved it. And they didn't write back and say,
Your stripes were crooked.
But I realized, so every time I've gone, I'm like, nope, I can't use that because it's got a straight. You know, it has to have some kind of pattern like this for me to put it.
Well, and you know that's true for fabrics that have. There was somebody that stitched something, and it had a stitched border. But the fabric she chose to use was, and I've seen that fabric for sale there at the attic. It looks like it has snow, but the snow is in lines like this, the dots. And it was like a winter thing, but it had a border. And so once she stitched the border on, you could tell that the lines were like this. You couldn't really tell, I guess, when she was looking at it. But once you put that border on it, you could really tell. And I would have just left the border off, you know.
Yeah.
Because it looked really cute. It was a winter thing. It looked like snow coming down. It was really cute. But you have to understand that when things are printed on fabric, like even something like this, half the time the thing that's printed is like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
We came across that all the time with the pillowcases.
When we made those pillowcases, they were so crooked. You were trying to make an edging, and it'd be like, well, do I just keep cutting it, or what do I do? You know, and you know, because you don't want to cut it crooked. You know, you kind of want to cut it on the.
But you don't want it to look all wonky when you're sewing
and sometimes
it.
Sometimes they had to be crooked because they print crooked. But you have to. So when you're choosing your fabrics, that's just something you learn, you know? Like even I was looking at this little coaster. It has stripes in it. And actually, it wound up pretty straight. But you can still see the stripes are crooked.
And you have to be careful because a lot of times when I'm making bags, I want to make sure that if it has an obvious stripe or whatever, that I cut it in a way where those stripes are straight. But what's more important than those stripes being straight is that the grain of the fabric works with what I'm making. Yeah. Because I could tilt it and cut it tilted, but then the back would, it'd be all wonky.
So you just have to accept some of those things.
I want to say real quick because we're kind of running out of battery, is that I don't know when, because I haven't had the consultation yet, but I went to see the doctor yesterday because I have a little lump right here in my hand, and he thinks it's a ganglion, like a little pooch out from my wrist bones here, but so I'm gonna see a hand surgeon or whatever to see about having it removed, because he said, well, you could leave it there and or have it surgically removed or whatever. But I think because it just in the last week or so, it's been bugging me and causing a little bit of pain when I stitch. I'm holding the hoop in my left hand and it hits my watch band here. It's because I felt like, if I just release my watch band, it feels, it gives me some relief there. So I think I'm going to have it
looked at,
removed. Yeah. And so I don't know how that's going to affect my stitching. But that leads me to my one real quick story here about, I think we talked about Mark being a Jonah when it comes to the rain.
Yes, we always tease it. I've talked about that.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
That no matter what, the rain just goes around. It's like, Mark, you're the Jonah.
So we were saying that I'm apparently the Jonah with
Doctors.
primary care doctors. Yeah, because the primary care doctor that I had when I first moved here, I chose him because he was close to where I used to live. When I first moved here, he was not far from my apartment. But then when we moved out here, it was kind of far to his office. But I liked him. But then I found out in this past November, December, he had passed away. So
sad.
yeah, because I really liked him. But so I chose a doctor at this office not far from us. We have of this same practice. And she was they're right around the corner from us, a couple blocks from us. So I went to see her, and I saw her a couple of times, and then I was there was some weird, wonky insurance thing. I had to actually formally choose her as a primary care doctor, and I think before I did that though, then I got a call from the pharmacy because I went to renew a prescription, and they said, oh, well, they told us that that she retired. So then I'm like, well, she retired because she's very young, but what it was is she had left the practice. And so I went to choose somebody else.
You had no doctor again.
So I had no doctor. So then Eve had mentioned this girl who was she's a woman, I should say. Sorry, she's actually a physician's assistant, but she's at that same practice, and Eve had been going to see her for a long time. So I thought, okay, well, I'll go see her, and I saw her once or twice, and then I had to refill some prescriptions, and I thought, well, just to make it easier, I guess I better choose her as a primary or whatever, because I had seen her name on my insurance list, and so I went to go look her up, and I looked and I searched and I looked at the address and I looked at her name, and she wasn't there. I was like, well, okay, so I chose another doctor in this practice. And then I found out later, because I guess because I had put in some prescription renewals, and they told me that, oh yeah, she's not there anymore apparently. So I was like,
so now Eve doesn't.
She ran off my doctor.
Yeah. So when I saw Dr. Slovak this just the other day, yesterday,
you're like, are you going anywhere?
Yeah, he said, well, no, he asked me, so are you going to kill me? No.
I will have you know, I did not kill the others. Poor Dr. Jadal.
Yeah, but he did say so. So who's your primary? Because the insurance company had actually assigned me a new primary care.
Yeah.
But it was at that other practice where Dr. Jadal was. It's kind of far. So I had chosen Dr. Slovak. So he asked me, who my primary care was. I said, you. I was like,
oh no,
don't
something
do
bad's
anything
going to happen to me.
Yeah, you're gonna drive me off. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
well, we better go because we gotta finish our holiday weekend.
So we can go to the movies.
I'm gonna go to the movies, and I gotta go home and spin lots of yarn and
experiment more with your cards.
No, I'm not experimenting anymore with those cards. Not right now.
I have to buy more resin.
So we hope you have a good holiday weekend and happy 4th of July, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.